All right, everyone. Welcome to Ladies' Night. All right, we're here today because of our topic: options of educating our children. Okay, this came about because we had several conversations that stirred up, and it's about educating our children. Um, the between the COVID quarantine and the school shootings, and then other concerns about educational in the public system. There's been discussion of whether we should homeschool, and each parent have to make that decision. Homeschool, pros and cons of that. Private school, pros and cons of that. Homeschooling, the pros and cons of that. Plus the most recent thought of, and we have seen or heard about several independent school, that we create our own school. um Dr. Umar Johnson was one that was trying to do that. And we have Cuba, everybody know, well, most everybody know on YouTube, with his Zynex school. Anyway, and I think there's a few private schools around, that that's geared for our people, or our people in the diaspora. Okay, so so my co-host is Abena Abeko, also known as the Thunder Princess. Now you wondering what would she have to say? Well, she's gonna tell us about Ghana, because we also got quite a few of our people who's decided to expat Ghana, and other African countries. So as a native of Ghana, she can tell us more about what's the school system like in Ghana. So that. Mhm. Yeah, that's part of our diaspora, and that's choices that people have made, and they should know about what the schooling is like in Ghana. So, Avana, could you tell us what school systems they have and like in Ghana?
Yes. Well, once again, let me say hi to everybody over here. It has been a long time that they haven't seen me. Okay. When it comes to our school or our education system in Ghana, especially, I would say it's very good and it's very nice. Through the pandemic of the virus that came, it wasn't a virus because we were in the same situation already when the virus came. In our school system, it's like a government school and then a private school system. So people that they have the money, they can afford to send their children to the private school. And the people don't have money, send their children to the government school. But here is the case. The government schools compete with the private school.
Huh. You said government school compete with the private school. I
Yes.
think. Mhm.
Yeah, they've been starting compete with the private school, the government school. Sorry, the private schools because the private schools get all the information, they get the books that they want, but the government schools, because they don't have the money, the teachers sometimes they decided to teach or not. But here is the case: when they reach like the final year to write examination to go to different level, like go to the senior high or the university, the government school been getting the opportunity to go to the senior high instead of the private school. Why? Because the government want to promote or want to give the high schools to the government students because they are the government schools, and they don't do this thing to the private schools. So now it's affecting the private schools that they need, when the children reach some level, they have to withdraw them to the government. Other than that, your child can be in the private school. When he or she completed, she is not going to get a quality school to go.
Okay, so the government is kind of changing things up. They interference. So okay, you go send your kid to the private school. Your kids will learn. Uh, they will excel in the academics. But when it comes time to for them to take the test and go to the high school or go to college, it don't matter what grade they are because the
Exactly.
government is going to give um, um, the kids in the public school the best schools to go to.
Exactly. Like we
Mhm.
have here categories of the schools. Like we have category A, B, and C and D. So
Mhm.
they send all these government students to the category A and B and C. And then they will send the private students to the category F, G, H, that is the lower schools. Even though it's a senior high, but it's low. This is where they send these private students to. And it's affecting the parents because the parents want their children to sell, or people that are in the private schools to go forward, but they are not going. So now,
Mhm.
instead of when the pandemic was here, the children was in the house without learning nothing because they cannot go to the school to go and learn or do online school, because in Africa or in Ghana, we don't have access to the network or to the internet or to buy stuff for our children to learn online. So our education system is like you being in the school or you are not going to school at all.
Oh, okay. Okay. Okay, so what did some parents do during this time?
Okay, during those time, the parents that they have knowledge about education, they educate their children in the home, that
Mhm.
they don't call any teacher. They'll sit their children down, whatever they knew about education they teach their children. So if you don't know nothing and you don't have a television to watch what the public was showing on the television, then that means your kids is not going to learn anything, especially those who were in the villages. They can't learn anything because they don't have any television. Their parents haven't been in school before, so they don't have access to learn nothing.
Mhm. Okay. Wow. Okay. And all right. So no computer access. If you don't have TV access, your only access to schooling was your parents, and only if they had schooling. But I'm just kind of curious. Yeah, it jumped out. What happens to students that go to a low grade college uh, and university and high school? How does that affect them? Later in life after they graduate, does it hinder them getting a good
Okay,
job?
okay. It affects them because sometimes when they enter into the university, it's a big problem because the university mostly takes the high schools till before they take the lower schools. But it doesn't matter. If you excel in the lower grade, the university can pick you. It doesn't have a problem. Just that you the kid that they send you there, you have to excel. Well. When you excel, you are done. It doesn't matter the school.
Hmm. Okay. So
Yeah.
how the how are some of the parents solving this issue, dealing with this issue? Are they sticking strictly um, strictly private, so their kids to be educated and smart, and be able to take it from there, or are they putting their kids in public school so their kids can go to a good
Okay.
mhm.
The parents is taking this because they want to take their children to the private school when they are like um first grade to maybe form 2 or form 3. Form 2, then they drop them from private school to the government school, because that one they have already get the knowledge. They don't have a
Mhm.
problem about it, everything that they're going to go on in the government school. So people send their children to the private school to get a knowledge, to know how to read, to know how to speak good English.
Mhm.
Because the government school, we speak normal local languages like Chi, Gan, Fanti. We don't normally focus on the English. We focus in the local languages. But when you go to the private school, that is when they speak English. When they are home, they speak English. So everybody want to send their children to the private school so that they can learn how to speak English good, and they can go to the university and write it good. Because the government schools, we normally speak the local. We don't care.
Yeah, let me jump in here real quick,
Mhm.
if you guys don't mind.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, Ghana is cool and all, but they have their own set of issues aside from ours, okay? We have a unique set of issues here in America that we need to focus on. I think there's a couple of problems we have here is that we are afraid to take control of our lives. We've been taught to be afraid, and we've been taught to trust people that don't have our best interests at heart. That's why we're fighting against the notion of taking control of the education of our children, because we don't trust ourselves and we trust the people that don't give a damn about us. We've been taught to trust them. We've been taught to trust their system and have no faith in your own ideals or your own thoughts or proclivities, right? And
Mhm.
then what are we sending our kids to school for? What do we normally? I mean, Abby just mentioned languages, right? Okay. I hear a lot of black people say that they want their kid to go to school in Africa, not to actually learn anything else other than how to speak different languages. I can pick you out 4 or 5 black people right now who say that they want their child to go to an African school to learn how to speak multiple languages. Nothing else.
Wow.
Don't want to learn how to do any science. No, no, no medical, no nothing. Just different languages. So the child goes to a Ghanaian school, learns how to speak multiple languages, and that's the end of the education. And so, at what point does that help the child, and what does that help the child's family or black people or whatever? Well, it can help communicate in different languages, yeah, but is that the extent of it? Why do we want to send our children to places that we have no control over? We have no control over these public schools. While your child is in the public school, you cannot protect your child. For 8 hours or so many hours that your child is in that public school, you or no one in your family can protect your child. Why would you want to leave your child in such a condition? I'll tell you why. Because you've been taught to trust the people that don't give a damn about your kids. That's why you got people up here talking about we're taking the easy way out. They trust the white system. They trust it. You're not allowed to distrust. If you are distrusting, then you are bucking against the system. You are creating waves. You're not a very good Negro. You're not going along to get along. You're a troublemaker, right?
Right.
So, looking at the pandemic, looking at these school shootings, looking at what these teachers are doing to these kids, giving kids lap dances, having sex with these underage kids. Now they're getting ready to arm the teachers with guns. Are you out of your damn mind? I would never send my child into such an environment. You're just asking for trouble. And when these teachers get armed, who are the teachers that are going to get armed first? The white teachers and the foreign teachers are going to get armed first. And they're going to try their best not to arm the black teachers at all. And now, when the white teachers are armed, do you think they're armed for a mass shooter? Or do you think they're armed for what they consider unruly black children? But you know what they say about our children. Our children are bigger than most children. So they look at our children as grown adults anyway. So if one of our children get into an argument with one of these white armed teachers, that teacher can fear for his or her life and shoot your child dead. And be justified in doing so. So who are they really arming themselves for? Are they really arming themselves for mass shooters? Or are they arming themselves for unruly black children? Something you have to take into consideration, right? Homeschooling is not difficult. You don't have to be educated to homeschool your children. You don't actually do the homeschooling. There are kits that you purchase. There is online training. There are kits that you buy that you can set up in your house, and the child can follow along accordingly. The kids basically teach your child and put your child on autopilot. Also, you can interact with live professors and teachers online, also via phone. Okay? And so, as a parent, knowing what I know now about public schools, I wouldn't send my child to a public school, especially now that they're arming teachers. My child is black. I'm not sending them to a public school where there are white armed teachers. I yield the mic.
Okay. Thank you. I agree with you saying, but you're right. There's some people that want to send their children to Africa just to learn the languages.
Yeah, languages.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing else.
No,
Nothing else.
I think they were doing that because also they were taking their children away from racism. It's not about the languages alone, but they're taking their children also away from racism because when they come to Africa, the children is not going to be as like the way they be in the States if they're in school.
Right, but it's just a conversational piece. It sounds good, right? It's something that you can say. It's a bragging point. Oh, my daughter or my son is in Ghana learning different languages. Is there anything else he or she is learning? Well, no, they're just learning different languages.
Exactly.
That's it. Every time I talk to these Negroes who wants to send their kids to Africa, it's always about they want to learn how to speak multiple languages. Okay, you want to speak multiple languages. What else? We need scientists. We need doctors. Are they interested in those kinds of things? No, just multiple languages. I mean,
Yeah,
but
but
I've wait a minute. I've gone on record and I've said, in this day and age, this time, you have to be crazy to send your kid to public school. I stand by that. Go ahead, Abby.
yeah, but when we are talking about they send their children to Africa or to learn multiple languages, and we are not thinking about what they need to do, or instead of them to be like a scientist and stuff, yeah, they can come in as a scientific or any medical doctor that they want to do, even though the child being sent to African school. It doesn't matter because when they are in African school and they learning multiples of languages as well, they can come in the flying colors of what they want to achieve in their future.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. The intent might have been to for them to learn other language, but um, the curriculum are usually most people are trying to steer them or trying to find out what they want to do in their future. Now, it could be that they thinking, okay, that they're going to Africa as black school, black teachers. They don't have to worry about racism or their child having to experience that in the school system, which is also hampers the child too. So they figure you can't get no better than in Africa where there's no black teachers. It's about the child's ability to learn and what they learn.
Yeah, and a child is going to be among all black students or all black teachers. It's not going to be among other white children or black or white teachers. So most of them is like trying to send their children to Africa to school because of what the children is going to face. They're going to face their own people or their own black people. That is when people are interested in send their children to Africa to learn between in Africa.
Right, but there's one thing you guys are not looking at.
Okay.
Many of the kids, many of the people that are sending their kids to African schools in Africa, they're only there for a certain period of time.
Mm-hmm.
After that, they come back to America. Okay?
Uh-huh.
Now, what's the sense of sending a kid over to speak multiple languages that once they get back to their point of origin, they'll never use?
But they'll understand.
Hmm. You'll
They're not
understand, but
used.
you'll never use. There's nobody else speaking the language once you get over here.
Yeah, but do you know that if they also have that knowledge or they don't use it, they also can create something with their languages because they can use it to teach the people over there or to teach the
But
American children that they also interest to learn the languages, even that she or he have come to
there's not
Africa.
many Americans, born Americans, that speak Tree. Okay?
Yeah, but they can use it to they can use it to teach the Americans.
Right.
You understand? They
But
can
how
use the
helpful,
languages to
right,
teach.
but how helpful is it over here?
It's going to help. That can create a
Hmm.
school that these children can even build a school with it and say we are teaching our brothers and sisters over there what we got from Africa.
Hmm.
So that will be a black school for our brothers and sisters who went here to learn the languages. So they will be started teaching them over there. So when they are getting here, they already know the languages
Hmm.
and they will be speaking it. and they will use it. So when they gather and there's a problem with the white people, they can use the language against the white people, and they will not understand.
Yeah. They could become a teacher, or they can become a translator. Um, teach Tree or Ga as a second language. Or they could teach um, people who coming from Ghana to the States. Um, if they already know Tree and Ga, um, to teach them English.
Right. So I
But
think that is the best way for our black children, because then your black child will have in different languages. Even if mama is not around or daddy is not around, she or he can gather the children around the wood. Even though, I know America is different, like the way the children need to go to other houses to play or get to this compound to gather themselves. Africa is different. You can enter everybody's home and play with the kids over there. It's not like in America. But this is the case that all the black world or all the black environments, the children in black environments, they will be starting to creating something for themselves. She will go to the midst of the black children and say, "Hey, when I went to Africa, I learned this. Do you want to learn something from me?" And then you see, children want to learn. So she will or he will be starting voicing out. When I went, I learned this language. Let me teach you. Let me help you with it. And you see the children will be okay with that to learn, to study, and they will be happy with it. But all will depend on the parents. If the parents are interested, they can build a school for this boy to teach inside. That's all.
Is she Morgan thing?
no, she is not.
Okay, I think that might be me.
Okay.
I can't hear her.
Oh, okay.
Did she stop talking?
Yeah, she stopped talking.
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can.
Okay.
Yeah, I was saying that if this brother or our brother American brothers that they send their children to Africa to learn different languages, these children can use it in America, and they will help their brothers also over there to teach them, and then the parents can build a black school which they're teaching African languages over there. And who is teaching? Like their own brother or their own sister. So all the children would love to go to that school without having a problem, because you are not going to bring any white teacher in. You are not going to admit any white students because you don't want to teach them the language. You want to teach your brothers and sisters only the languages.
Yeah. And the reason I was having Abaddon speak on this because there are people that are planning on moving to Africa. Ghana is seem to be the most popular choice. There are a few others, but they need to be aware of what the school system climate is like. Like, did anybody know that this was going on between the private and the public schools in Ghana? Probably not. Didn't even think about it. You know, um,
No.
and how government interference could mess with a school or a school system. Um, and that's what we're finna get into um, with the American schools, because some of the reasons why people are choosing other option is the interference with the government into the schooling system introduce a curriculum called Common Core, and it's becoming a problem. A lot of those that have voted for Common Core regretted it. They had no idea that it was like this. And they can't teach their students. The teachers got to relearn how to teach this curriculum. So there's all kind of issues going on. And so we're going to be talking about the different options. Okay, now we have the traditional school, traditional schooling.
Now, wait a minute.
Uh-huh.
I'm sorry. I was cut off. But what does it benefit to learn the languages? Okay? You learn the languages to communicate amongst one or the other. But what does it amount to? What do you accomplish together with these languages?
Well, that's for the parent and the child to decide. I don't think.
Are you taking these languages and you're meeting people, you're saying, listen, with our languages, we need to, now that we speak the same language, or I speak the same language as you, right? We need to take this opportunity to build infrastructure for our people. Are you using the languages to communicate those kinds of constructive thoughts? Because if you're not, then what is the purpose of learning the languages other than just having them for conversational pieces?
Okay. I get what you're saying. And
right, what are we doing with the languages that we're learning? What opportunities are we taking advantage of with our new languages that we're learning?
Okay. I think the pictures of our new language that our children are learning is that they're going to use it. For me, that is what I see. Because
yeah, I understand that. That's not what I'm talking about. As a matter of fact, that is what I'm talking about. They're going to use it, right? But how? What opportunities are they going to take advantage of with these new languages? What is the advantage of learning to speak Tree fluently? What are the advantages? What is Tree going to do for an African American? How is Tree going to improve the life of an African American for the better? Or African American people? Or Black American people for that matter? What is going to be better about our lives if we learned how to speak Tree? Are we going to stop killing each other? Are we going to raise our children better? Are we going to stop being absentee fathers? Or are we going to be better husbands? What is Tree going to do for us? That's where I'm going with it, along those lines. Can Tree stop pumping and dumping? Can Tree get rid of pimp culture? Can Tree stop spousal abuse? Can it stop the absentee father situation? Okay. So learning Tree, where are the benefits?
okay,
that's a big question.
that's a good question. But think about it. There's even if they were going in the United States, there are stuff that they learned that what is going to benefit. They have to take a second language as part of going to college track to go to college. what's the point of the second language if the primary language in the United States is English? They got Spanish, French. Some of them have Japanese, Chinese, Latin. What are the benefits of that? That is mainly to benefit the child so they can go to college, or it might
Are
be.
you answering my question with a question?
Oh, well, yeah. Okay, okay. I meant it as a statement, but yes, I am answering your question with a question. It doesn't. Okay, it doesn't have a benefit for the community or the diaspora.
Right.
It could
This is
have
my
a
point.
benefit
And
for the
see,
child.
most languages don't.
Mhm.
Okay. Most languages only serve for the purposes of communication. Okay, and that's pretty much it. And so I don't see learning multiple languages a high priority. I see languages as something that you can learn at your leisure.
Mhm.
It's not something you should prioritize. We need info, so we need things in real time right now to help prevent us from spiraling out of control. This whole deadbeat dad issue. How many languages can we say deadbeat dad? How many languages do you need to learn to say deadbeat dad or I'm broke? I mean, do you really need to say I'm broke in multiple languages? Do we really need to say deadbeat dad in multiple languages?
No.
I mean, we have real serious issues. Don't get me wrong. I'm not against the languages. I just don't think they are as important as others. It's
Well,
not something that I mean, then I'm hearing people like really throw their chests out there. Here, well, my daughter or my son is in Ghana, learning multiple languages. Okay, well, learning anything else?
oh, is it? It could be just like Remy said. They just uh do stuff just to flex.
Exactly. And like I said, this stuff doesn't listen, when you peel back the onions on these people on YouTube and they talk, right?
Mhm.
It's just a bunch of talking for the sake of talking. There's really no real information. People are just talking a good game. They're putting lipstick on a pig. Again, the absentee father issue is a serious issue. But yet you got black dudes sitting up here firing off one video after another talking crazy about black women. Like the absentee father thing is not an issue. I don't mean to change the trajectory of the show, but I don't understand. Absentee fatherhood is killing us.
Okay, well, this is part of. Okay, you can't do anything about the men. Concentrate on the children. So this is,
What are
concentrate
you
part of
talking about?
concentrating
You
on the
can't do nothing
children.
about the men.
Okay, okay, okay. This is we encouraging the women that are trying to chase the father, uh, um,
Well,
chase
nobody's saying
for a
anything about the
man.
woman should be chasing anybody.
Okay, this is the aspect of concentrating on yourself and the kids. Part of that is the education. So we concentrate on the options of education. I mentioned
I'm
this
saying
because
that
there
we
are
have an
some
absentee
people
father
that
problem,
is
but yet
planning
you still
on
have black
moving
men
to Ghana,
firing off
and they getting their
video after
kids,
video
and they need to
of
know what
negative
the
things to say
system,
about black
education
women
system
when
is like in
they
Ghana.
don't want to address the absentee father issue.
Okay. All right. Absentee father. Okay. Women say absentee father is part of the school issue because a lot of men are not involved in their children's education.
Exactly.
Okay.
And you're over talking me, and I'm trying to point out a very important point about absentee fathers.
Okay. But the topic is the options of educating our kids.
Well, we expanded the topic.
Mm-hmm.
Topics can be expanded.
Yeah, they can't. But could we get the options out?
Well, how many options are we talking about? We're talking about homeschooling. What other options are we talking about?
Traditional, and we're also talking about creating our own school, an independent school. Buy
Well,
back
well,
for.
well, you can forget about the last one.
Hmm.
That's never going to happen.
But we have some examples where it is happening. Maybe we should encourage others.
You talking about Q Butter School?
Yeah, that's one.
Yeah, well, he
Yeah,
started that himself.
exactly.
That wasn't something that black people started.
Yeah, it started with one man.
No,
It
but
should.
you said building our own school as if you want black people to get together and build. Well, that's not happening. Now, I'm not saying some individuals won't do something,
Mm-hmm.
but getting groups of black people together, man, forget about that, man.
Okay.
Unless you know the group.
Okay, but I don't think we should discourage it neither. There might be groups. They
There's
might need an
nothing to
example.
discourage. It's not going to happen. You know.
Uh, yeah, but it can happen.
It can
Cuba started
happen
out by himself.
because you need
Now he got more teachers involved. He's had in addition. He's
But you
also
better start
he's
the
also
school
doing
itself.
okay. Yeah, and that's how
it
all
can
schools
happen
start.
because
Somebody's starting it
No,
themselves.
all schools don't start like that.
it's
Okay.
start like that because it's going to happen because our new generation that they are coming, they are different. So they are going to build something
But
that
we have to
they are
have. Okay, look.
building.
Okay, how come Dr. Umar Johnson School isn't operational?
Because he's waiting for a whole group to come donate money, and he's doing more like a boarding school type scenario. When I'm thinking smaller, Cuba is an example. It could start off small. It could start off as one person, one kid, then maybe a few other kids, and then an extra person, and then it'll gradually grow to building the school. Cuba
Well,
started because he wanted to homeschool his kids. And then
right.
other people started talking to him. And can you teach my kid? And can you teach mine? And I don't want to put my child on oh my goodness, what those drugs are, Ritalin or these other AD drugs and stuff like that. And he kind of grew. But it could start off as one person want to homeschool their kids, then they helping somebody else and
Well, I'm
rotating.
not saying that. I'm not saying. Well, that's a unique situation.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that still wasn't black people getting together and decided to, start a school.
But it was.
No,
It
it
started
wasn't.
off with Q Butter and his wife.
He wanted, yeah,
And
but he
then,
wanted to, but he wanted to homeschool his own kids, and then people got wind of it and asked him and stuff, and then it grew from there. But it wasn't a group of black people who got together and said, "Hey, let's start this school."
Okay, but that's fine.
No,
That's fine. It's an example that it can be done. A lot of people get discouraged and they keep thinking, "Oh, I need a group of black people." Instead of it could be one or two, and it could start
well,
from there.
if you can do it, that's great.
Yeah, it may take a while. It may take a few years. It took a few years for Cuba to reach the level
I
he's
mean,
at
if you
right
can
now.
do
He's
it,
still growing.
I mean, if you can do it, more power to you.
Uh huh.
Yeah, that would be great if you can get black folks to get it going.
Okay. All right. Okay. So I'm gonna start reading some of Remy's comment
Hmm.
since we kind of jumped the gun and we're now all over the place. All right. American schools are designed to eliminate a parent's influence on their children.
Exactly. This is why I don't want to send the kids to public school.
Mm-hmm.
This is why you got to be crazy. But you got people saying that you don't want to live in fear. It's not about fear. This is about control. Okay? Kids go to school and learn how to rebel.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I think that's what makes Remy other comment the do as I say, not as I do mentality. There's a lot of that type of teaching going on. Do as I say, not as I do. And yes, and there's a difference between a rebellion, high spirit, um, and I usually deal with the I don't care, the mentality. Um, yeah, and sometimes it squishes a lot because you got a teacher dealing with 20 to 30 students, and some of the schools are doing inclusive where you have special needs kids, and you're trying to teach and include all that, and
Okay, look at Remy's latest comment.
mm-hmm.
Abby, you want to answer that comment?
Okay, let's see. It must be the newest one.
Okay, what's the
Well,
count?
mhm.
Okay, is that the one?
Yeah.
It would take a century for more Cubanos to do what he's doing. There are a lot of independent African-centered schools, but most black kids are not benefited from those schools.
Abby?
Right. They are not benefit from those schools, but I think this is the time that they're
But these are
supposed to benefit.
African centered. But these are African centered schools.
Yes, but I'm thinking that these are the time that we need to rise up. So for me, I thinking those time was that time which it has passed. This is the time that we are fixing ourselves or we are fixing our education system.
Mhm.
So we can change things that firstly it wasn't there and now it can be there. So we're going to benefit probably basic on what we do or what we put in our children or in our education system. This thing was there way back those time.
Okay. All right. I think some of these African center school are too fixated on African culture, African language, and 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 that's the main calling card uh for those
Right.
who want to
So,
like be closer to their roots.
right.
But
So if
this
we
is
do send
different
our
from
kids
a
to,
school in Africa.
so if we do send our kids to an African school, what kind of education are they going to get? Are they going to get a cultural education, or are they going to get a practical education that they need to excel in the world? Which one will they get?
But they're gonna excel in the world because African children that they have been in African schools and stuff, they are all over the world. They are all over the world. And they've been getting most highest jobs in all over the world. When you see African children that they went to the school in Africa system, they learn everything in Africa, they are all over the world and they are having the big jobs. And they be the high at the top of the jobs is in all over the world.
Hmm.
Just because some misguided people are sending their kids to Africa just to learn a language, don't mean that Africans are not teaching their children
But you know
uh,
what?
stuff that
I noticed one
they're
thing she
going to
didn't
need.
say though.
Hmm.
She didn't say any Black Americans who went to African schools were all over the world in top jobs.
Okay, because the black American children that they are sending them here, most of them don't complete the schools. Most of them being like, okay, they be in the like JSS, or we call it GSS. That is when you call it 14th grade or 16th grade, I don't know. Then they will took them back to the America. They don't complete the school here. They don't go to the university here. All the black American children that they were here and they were born here, or they were
Hmm.
born there and they were here to learn to go to the school system over Africa. If you check their lifestyle and their
Hmm.
behavior, and the one who was raised everything in the school over there is totally different.
Because let me ask you a question. Why do you think that those Black Americans aren't finishing school?
Or because their parents don't want them to finish the school here because they want their children to be in a best school over there. That is what they think. They think African schools is not the best for their children, but that is wrong.
Mm. Hmm.
Because before they don't know that these schools in Africa will help their children. So now that they have noticed that no, our children or our sisters who are coming from Africa, they are very intelligent, they have these knowledges about works and the stuff. Oh, that means my child can be there and get all these knowledges.
Well,
Let me take my child back to Africa. That's when
it
now.
seemed like it seemed like they only think the school is good for teaching them multiple languages.
No, it's not about multiple languages because see, let me tell you something. When we are talking about our education system over here, we don't do those languages. We learn the languages home. They don't teach us the languages in the school. Only thing we've been learning in the schools is like when you get to the SHS, it depends on the course that you are doing. That is when you decide if I want to do a languages or not. But no schools teaches you the languages. We learn the languages amongst ourselves, amongst our friends. I started speaking 10 languages because I learned it in home. I didn't learn it in school. because I was a business student in SHS, so I can do languages. So it depends on the where you find yourself. And we have people in Ghana that they don't speak two languages; they supposedly speak one. They be in school, but they don't speak other languages apart from one language. So it's not about the language alone, but it's about how the children get opportunity and how when they get a job all over the world, you see them in the higher position. They be in the higher position. I tell you.
Let me ask you a question though. To come out of a system to where you're that educated, you don't think it's a failure to go to work for somebody else, even if you are at the top, or what they have to offer?
I don't think so.
I mean, because coming out of a system that can give you that kind of knowledge, right? To where you are all over the world and you are number one, you are tops. Why waste that to make someone else rich? That doesn't make any sense to me. If I'm coming out of a school system that can give me that kind of educated mind, I'm going for self. I'm not trying to use that to make somebody else rich. Why would I do that? Instead of going all over the world, getting jobs, making other people rich, why not I take that knowledge that I've gotten from the system and start my own multi-conglomerate business?
No, you can start your own multiples of business, but it will depends on when you find yourself because you can create a business if there is
But you
no
see, this is what I'm talking about. You see how deeply black people are brainwashed? Even the legendary African is brainwashed. See how you see how you fight, right, to give away your best to someone else that don't have your best interest at heart. You just educated your people in a system designed to give them superior education, and you would rather take that superior education and work for someone and keep that person over you ahead of you. And then you're happy with what that person gives you.
Wow.
Yeah. Your brainwash. Even the legendary African has not escaped brainwashing. Instead of taking that superior education, right, and structuring yourself, your country, your own infrastructure, and building for yourself, and getting yourself on track, you're ready to go and do it to someone else and keep them ahead of you. And then on top of that, teach them how to stay ahead of you. And then as far as you and your own, you won't teach them nothing.
Okay. Well, it could be that for the time being, they're taking the education to get a job, make money, save it, and then go into business for themselves. The
I'm
money's
just
not going
saying, we have,
to.
okay, I've heard several things, right, when it comes down to my people. I've heard that we come from a race of kings. I still can't find that race of kings anywhere Now I'm hearing about a system that has been designed to produce superior education. And they obtain that superior education and go use it to keep people on top who they have no business keeping on top. And then, you look at it this way, right? Okay, you say, hey, African, why won't you run away to America and teach the black American that superior intellect of yours so you all can build together? Nah, they won't go do that. They'd rather go find a white man with a business, sell themselves to that white man, and become the tops in that white man's company and become that a white man's pet for about 20 years with your superior intellect. I mean, how does that feel to be a pet to someone you are intellectually superior to?
Yeah.
Man,
That's,
see, 'cause we've been, our common sense, well, y'all common sense, not mine, has been turned off. You guys don't use the common sense, man. You have all the superior education, and you're going to run, right, and use it to put somebody over you. And you can't wait to do it either. You're in a hurry to do it. When you can take that superior education and you can build and grow your own businesses, build your own infrastructure, okay, and kick ass and take names. To hell with working for somebody. But as we see, even the legendary African has not escaped being brainwashed.
hmm.
Okay. Interesting discussion going on in the chat between Remy and Creative Solutions.
What's going on? Well, let me get
Um,
off. Let me let you ladies talk. I just came up to get in on that other part. I'm going to bid you ladies adieu. Thank you for having me up on Ladies Night. Peace, power, unity, y'all.
okay.
Please find anything.
Okay. Let's see. All right. There's a interesting conversation going on with Remy Creative Solutions. Let's see. Let me back it up a little bit. Okay. Okay. Congratulations, Mama Ring, and your daughter, her senior year in high school. But interestingly enough, um, I was reading about it. There is a study going out that they believe. Okay, let's see, where is it? Oh, by Raymond and Dorothy Moore, they had researched the validity of the rapidly growing early childhood education, and their research study about view over 8,000 bearing early childhood education and the physical mental development of children. Um, they they asserted the formal schooling, traditional schooling, before ages 8 through 12 not only lacked the anticipated effectiveness but also harmed children. The Moores published their view that formal schooling was damaging young children academically, socially, mentally, and physiologically. The more present evidence that childhood problems such as juvenile delinquency, nearsightedness, increased enrollment of students in special education classes, and behavior problems were the results of increasingly early enrollment of students. The more cited studies demonstrate that orphans who were who given suffragette mothers were measurably more intelligent with super long-term effect, even though the mothers were mentally retarded teenagers, and that illiterate tribe mothers in Africa produced children who were socially and emotionally more advanced than typical Western children by Western standards of measurement. Their primary assertion was that the bonds and emotional development made at home with parents during these years produced critical long-term results that were cut short by enrollment in school and could neither be replaced nor corrected in an institutional setting afterwards. Recognizing a necessity for early out-of-home care for some children, particularly special need, and improvised children from exceptional inferior homes. They maintained that vast majority of children were better situated at home, even with mediocre parents. Than with the most gifted and motivated teachers in school settings. They describe the difference as follows. This is like saying if you can help a child by taking them off the cold street and housing them in a warm tent, then warm tents should be provided for all children, when obviously most children already have even more secure housing. The Moore embraced homeschooling after the publication of their first work, Better Late Than Early, in 1975, and became important homeschool advocates and consult with publications of books such as Homegrown Kids and Homeschool Burnout. So I thought that was interesting that they saying you could go with the traditional school, but not early, no earlier than 8 years old. So that's close to middle school years.
Mm-hmm.
hmm
Yes.
So so it seems like homeschooling, at least for the majority of years would seem to be a better, and I think that's why most homeschooling that I've seen so far, they homeschool until the kids are either in middle school or about to start junior high, or and in some cases high school. Because they don't get well, how can I put it? That is damaged by traditional sending the kids too early in the traditional schools. I wonder what they think now that we got 4 year olds in pre-K.
Mm. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because 4 years old in pre-K is gonna learn something from there, and it's like he have no knowledge about what or where he is. He's 4 years, he don't know anything, and what you put in him or her, that's what he's gonna improve when he's growing.
Mm-hmm.
So this type of children, like 4 years, supposed to be home, supposed to learn home, but because the parents are not there for these children, so the parents needs to work, they have to take them to school, and moreover there's no father to be there for these children. So if the mother is a single mother, she's going to take the children to the school to go and work and bring money home. But if the
Mm-hmm.
father is around, the mother can be there and make sure this child being in school in home for like 10 years or 8 years before they took him to school or her to school. Then because the mother is a single mother, supposed to do this. And the fathers are not happy. So you have to do whatever you need to do to help your daughter or your son, not be home like just like that. Because you don't have anybody taking care of him at home. You have to go and look for a job.
Now, not to mention the changes that they made in the school's curriculum. Used to be 4-year-olds used to be in Head Start. Um, Head Start. I don't remember much, but I think mostly they learn more social skills than they did book learning. They might know their ABCs, how their name is spelled, how to spell. I may not have been able to write my name in kindergarten, but I could sure spell it. I knew how to spell my name. I tell it to you with quickness, especially since at the time I had a little speech impediment, and they were thinking I was saying something else, so I would always end up spelling my name, so they got what my name was. Because I used to get mad as a little kid. They'd be calling me something that ain't my name. But
Yeah, but
yeah.
I think that was helping when they okay for me in some way it was helping because now it opens these children's brain very well. You can see a child like 3 years speaking good English like he's 5 years because they've been sending to school early. So they've been learning all the stuffs in school. And they can speak good English, they can write, even they can write well, but when they see this, they know this is the meaning of this. When you speak to them, they can tell you writing what is happening.
Mhm.
So some of the things like we're taking our early children to school, I think is good in some circumstances. It's very good.
Mhm. Well, yeah. Yeah, it could be good, but as I said, it's not for everybody. Some people need time. Not to mention the curriculum change. Right now, 4-year-olds are not considered Head Start anymore. They consider pre-K, and they're right now they learning stuff that used to be stuff that kindergartners used to learn. It seemed like the stuff kindergartners used to learn is with first grade, and it seemed to go further and further down the line. Everybody's learning way below their grade level, or at least from what I can remember of school. Um, and I'm like, okay, I'm expecting them to be just learning to write in kindergarten. No, they just learning to write in pre-K,
Yeah,
and
because
and and to be to kind of learn that kind of discipline that you need to, sit still in class, listen, you know, as I said, I don't remember too much about my Head Start, but 4-year-olds were, learning social skills, learn to eat with fork and knife and put up their tray, clean up, behind themselves, little basic hygiene, like, going to the bathroom, wiping themselves properly. Yeah. Learning how to play fair, play with other kids, teamwork. That's the
Mhm.
only thing I can remember, and the food. That's the only thing I can remember about about Head Start. But now we got 4-year-olds in pre-K, and they have to learn how to sit still in the desk, kind of halfway keep track of their things, to learn to write already, and not with no, we used to have to learn to write in kindergarten with the fat pencils, these thick pencils, because our hands got to get used to writing. No, they trying to learn with the small skinny pencil the older kids use. I'm like, what happened to the fat pencils and the fat colors? That made it easier for the young kids to grip. And oh my goodness. And some of the things that they consider hyperactivity is just that they've been cooped up in a classroom too long. They need to get outside and run. Or they suffer from exhaustion because they used to having more naps. Pre-K, well, I don't know. Pre-K and kindergarten used to have like at least 2 naps. They lucky if they get one. Yeah,
But these
and
children
all
that they
that.
are coming also,
Mhm.
yeah, these children also that they are coming, they are very serious. They don't care you lock them to sleep only once or twice. They don't care. Especially they are happy when you playing with them around. Like especially they are okay when you be jumping, dancing, playing music. They are happy with it. And even they feel proud, like, hey, I can also write, I can also speak, I can dance. They love
Yeah, but they
it.
want to do it all at once. They don't want to come home and bombard your school. No, they do this to the teacher.
Yeah.
They come at the teacher. Oh, I can do this, I can do that, and I can do that. Oh, and they helpful. They want to be helpful so badly. If you want a student that's helpful, you get the pre-K, the kindergarten, first graders, second graders. They want to help you to death. They want to help you with everything. They even want to boss the other kids around by being the teacher. Shut up. Miss Frank said be quiet. Miss Frank being quiet. But yeah. Um, yeah. And temperaments. Oh my temperaments. Had one, he only wanted the teacher to help him. So any
Hmm.
one of his friends want to come and help him, or he even got to the point if they asked, he shoved and say no. And I had to teach him, look, you could tell him no, but no shoving. And I also had to teach them, say, if you ask him if he needs help and he says no, it means no, leave him alone. But he needs help. Yeah, but that's for me. And when he's ready to ask for it, he gonna ask. But if you ask, you volunteer, you told you no, leave him alone. Because sometimes he got particular. For some reason, he fixated on me to help him.
Right.
And that was okay with me. I was just happy he wanted to learn, because the last time I came, he didn't want to learn anything. He just was mad at everybody. You know, and he didn't want to do that, so I let him not do for that day. I said, okay, but you can't hit nobody. You can't scream at nobody. You're gonna sit down quietly by yourself. You do nothing. I mean, he didn't even want to color, and kids love the color. But anyway, I'm getting a little sidetracked. Uh, yeah, but yeah, that's the thing they were saying. That's some of the reasons why some people choose homeschooling. They believe the traditional schooling of using the standard curriculum, fixed time at which they learn should take place. Oh yes, there's particular times for the and conventional grading method and standardized tests, forcing contact with children their own age group. There's some kids that they don't get along with a lot of kids, or you know, they find if they see one or two people, but having 20 something, 30 kids they have to deal with, ooh, that's a much. And the compulsion to do homework, regardless of whether it helps the learner in the individual situation, the effectiveness of listening to and obeying orders of one authority figure for several hours a day. Yeah. So okay. Yeah. And so a lot of people believe that the traditional schooling stifles the kids, because I have seen it where kids are excited to go to school, they're excited to learn, and after a certain point in time or certain grades, they don't like school anymore. They don't love it. They just want to get away from it. Or you see signs of depression in them.
Yeah.
Or
I want to
or
ask this question like,
mhm.
okay, for now, what actually do we want to do for our children through this education system? What are some of the things are we going to do to help our children in the education system? Is it about the homeschool, or is it about we taking them to school, or we sending them to the publics or the private schools, or not school at all?
Okay.
Which one are we going to do and is going to help us?
Okay. Well, I'm not okay. Well, that's why I left it at options, because each parent got to decide for their child and how well they know their children and what they feel works best and what they can and can't do. Now, um, I do believe quite a few kids would do well with homeschooling. Um, and or homeschooling part time, either part time they do homeschooling the first few years of school and then go to school later in years, or I think that will work best.
Right,
Um,
okay. But
mhm.
when we're talking
But
about home, sorry,
I'm not saying as for our kids as a whole. I'm just putting the options out there and the pros and the cons.
okay.
Um, Now, a traditional school. Now, ideally, if this was a perfect world, the parents that want to homeschool their kids will homeschool their kids. You know, but there's things that would hinder them from homeschooling. That would mean that there was less schools and less kids in the traditional schools, and the classes could be smaller. Traditional school would work if the classes were smaller, fewer kids. Um.
Which one is the traditional school and which one is not the traditional school? Because I want to know the
Okay.
difference of the traditional
Okay.
school.
Public school is considered traditional schooling over here, even though I found out that until until the 19th century, a lot of it was homeschooling. Um, but traditional schooling is considered sending your kids to public school.
Oh, okay, so that is the traditional schools. Oh, okay.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah. Now, some people, because of the curriculum or because of the people or what's going on, they'll send their. Well, no, originally because of the people, the curriculum, that is not is teaching is not uh, it's too secular. It means it's not a Christian type of school. They will go private school, and since a lot of private schools are religious schools, or they would be called parochial schools, some people go that way. Some go to private schools because they want to stay away from certain people. They have according to they would take that route. Um, there are other types of private school or independent school. We say private, but it's also called an independent school where the funds are not coming from the federal, state, or local government, coming from government or from taxes. It's coming from they raise the money, the parents pay a tuition for the kids to go to school.
Mm-hmm.
That's one route because they feel education is better, is more Christian, is teaching creatorism instead of Darwinism. Yeah, there's a big thing between people teaching science and evolution and science and creator, religious based. Um,
Okay.
Now
Yeah,
there
but
are there are private schools according to ethnicities. We don't have too many of them for us black folks, but they are out there. Um,
I'm also asking this question. Don't we
mhm.
think that when we home our school our children, when we send them to the home schools, don't you worry the children? Don't the children feel loneliness because they don't go closer to other people or other environments to see what is going on there because they always on home and they see the children or they see other teachers online alone. Do we think that helps our children or for them to go to the school and socialize with everybody?
Hmm. All right. Okay. So with homeschooling, it doesn't necessarily mean they just at their house. They could be homeschooling since they go to the library, they go different places. It just means that you're not in a school building, being school. Um, so yeah, they believe that especially those with families, they socialize with their family. They socialize being around other people. Some of them have them in these different programs. Um, so the only way I can see it be lonely if you're an only child, being homeschooled, because the homeschool don't necessarily have to be the parents. It could be a tutor, or in some cases, a retired teacher, or an online teacher. But but um, for families, it gives them a chance to be closer. Yeah, because if you see on YouTube, I've seen several black families where they do homeschool. Well, some of them they had to because of the quarantine, but they liked it so much they kept at it.
Yeah,
Um,
it has been a long time that I was watching something on YouTube like, okay, there was a home school and the teacher was online. I think we watch it here and
mhm.
the parent was in there, these children can be alone and they were studying. And assuming this teacher was having fun of himself, you know, he's teaching your children. You thought maybe he might be teaching your children at that time, but he was doing nothing, just teaching the children something that they don't need to learn. You know, it's like
Uh-huh.
you have to be there when they're teaching your children. If
Oh
you are
yeah.
not there, then you have to make sure because if it is in a school, whenever goes on in the class, the children gets home, they talk to their parents. Okay, mama, when we went to school today, this was what happens in class. But if they are homeschooling and the teacher does something wrong, it's very difficult for your child to tell you because he might think the teacher was playing. Like when the teacher was having fun with a boyfriend or girlfriend and they
Mm-hmm.
were online and
Uh-huh.
he didn't know or she didn't know that she having off
Uh-huh.
or he having logged out from school.
Mm-hmm.
And the mic wasn't mute. It was open. So the children was hearing what was going on. You might teaching that
Oh.
your child was happy teaching or learning, but you was watching a teacher having fun. That's the one
Yeah.
part I think about it, like homeschool and online school.
Okay. Yeah, the distant learning. Yes, you definitely the parents are an adult they approve of should definitely be there because some stuff like that happen. And there's some parents they tend to record the online teaching because they know their child is not going to get it the first time the teacher teach it, so they'll be able to watch it over and over again until they understand and get what the teacher's trying to teach them. So yeah, that's how some of that got out because somebody was recording it because they
Yeah.
they were planning on their child to watch it over and over again.
Mm-hmm. So if
Um,
it wasn't that, that means this thing is not going to come out. And maybe
yeah.
that was all the time. That was what she been doing to these children. Nobody knows, you know. So for me, I have a problem with this homeschool and stuff. I know
Yeah. But
there's
that's
a lot
on.
of rich. I
Well,
know
you see, well, that's more like online learning or distant learning. That's it's considered kind of homeschool, but it's not. You can use it in homeschooling, but it's not necessarily homeschooling. Homeschooling is usually the parents teaching. Usually the parents teaching the kids.
yeah, if the parent is teaching the kids, I'm good with it. But like having distant learning, online learning, that is a whole lot of trauma because I can be teaching your child something else on online. And as a parent, because you've been tired from work, you cannot be going to your phone or your child's phone or the laptop to log in to see what they learned the last time. You because you are tired always, you working, and you are one of his father or mother. Nobody is there to check what is going on with this child. So you thought your child is learning, and when you ask her a question or he question, he answer. He give you all the correct answer. So you thought your child is doing good, but the teacher can be doing nasty thing to them online, showing them something that you don't know. And these children will be watching. So by the time they get to like 15 or 16 years, they are top of you. When you talk, they talk. When you do this, they do it because the teacher have put that pressure or have put in that thing in them, and you don't know it.
Okay. Well, yeah, yeah. That's if you propping your kids in front of the computer, and then you just leave them to it. Um, that can't be done because you're right. You're not going to know. But then again, it could just as easily happen in the school. We've seen plenty of videos where teachers had done some things that wasn't okay at the school too. There's always going to be some cons to sending uh, um, whether you're sending your kids to the school or are they doing the online digital learning. Um, that's why it's usually a family member, sometimes a tutor is with the child, you know, and I've known cases where it's the retired teacher.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Remy was answering your question. She said, when you homeschool, there are many options for your children to socialize with other kids. Yeah, yeah, they're not going to be quarantined to a house all the time. And I've seen plenty of times because I go to the library a lot. People bring their kids to the library to homeschool, and the libraries tend to have like story hour and stuff like that, and they get a chance to socialize with kids at the library. They get a chance to socialize in other places, and then there's programs and there's church and a lot of these people that homeschool, they have their kids involved in church and this Sunday school, church activities, enrichment, tutoring. Oh my goodness, there's a lot going on. Uh-huh.
Okay. Yeah,
So
well, maybe
yeah,
I get.
but you got to search for it. But it's even more so if your child is an only child. They need the socialization, but they do socialize. They just you not everybody is stay in the home. The kids socialize with their parents. They socialize with other people when they go out and about. But I don't know how many students I have. Some of them weren't even students in my class. I ran into one today at the gas station. Not today. The other day, at the gas station. He wasn't even a student in my class. He just recognized me from school, and he was saying hi. Hmm. Oh,
Yeah, because
okay.
want to make friends. You know, they want to have fun with other people. They want to,
Oh,
okay.
okay. Okay, she says there's sports because some schools will let the kids come for their PE or for join sports. There's homeschooling groups, there's co-ops, and of course there are cousins, siblings, etc., etc., etc.
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
okay. That would be good. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
because that was what I was thinking about. Like the children will be feeling loneliness and stuff. They
Mm-hmm.
all always make seeing only their parents or only their family or only their siblings. They are not seeing other people, or they are not being groomed with other people. So
Oh
they
yeah.
have a
E-
problem with it. Yeah.
Even
But
even during the quarantine, I saw the kids in the project subdivision apartment buildings, and they had their mask on, but they were socializing with each other. You know, they were
mhm.
playing. I don't know why their parents was letting them play outside, but they had their mask on. So and they were out playing, or they stuck to the ones that was approved of. Like friends and neighbors that was okay with their parents and with the neighbors. Shooks, I knew some kids they spent the whole quarantine with their grandparents and all their cousins and stuff like that because their parents were work either in transportation in medicine in hospitals, nursing homes, you know, and all these first responder necessary jobs. So so they spent their whole quarantine with their grandparents, and their grandparents did the online school and the distant learning, and
Mhm.
but they also had a chance to be creative. They spent time with their cousins. They had plenty of people to play with. They got creative in things they did because like they kept hearing stories from their grandmother about the drive-in movies. And they wanted to do that, especially since several of the little cousins had these little electric cars. And they did it. I saw all the pictures of it. It was cute. But you bet you believe they were she was on top of them about their schooling. So by the time they were doing school, they were going back to school. They were phenomenal. I knew she was always on top of them, but she was even more so because they were like right there in front of her. It's just certain ones that were living in her house that they always been on top of, but the ones that that she only see them during the summer or the holidays, grandma was not playing with them. And she was giving ideas. They were doing what they would call a pod. What they call a pod. Like they had several teachers that retired, and the parents, even the grandparents, needed some help. Not to mention sometimes they rotate whose house. Like there's these families of teachers, and during the quarantine, all of the grandchildren, cousins, nieces, nephews, they
Mhm.
they all rotate. They all took a day, and they divided them up because some of them were good with the little young kids, and some of them were good with the older teenagers, and
Yeah.
they divided up the group. And the husband that was the principal, he did the relief work. Although he admit he preferred to deal with the teenagers and stuff like that. It's like, well, one of them little kids is is yours. It's like, yeah. He said, yeah, but he said the teacher, oh, they don't keep still. They run around. They got to go to the bathroom. They need something to drink. They need a break. But anyway, but they did that. And that was that was a form of homeschool. That was a combination of homeschool and digital learning. And yeah, and they were socialized. In fact, close family friends, it'd be like, okay, my child don't have COVID. I need some help because I'm between working and school. I'm not. I can't be there to watch them. Watch to make sure they're doing the work all the time. And it was like, send them over. I believe you. You wouldn't. You know, but and it's like, well, send them over, and they were doing that, and they expanded. It went from just their immediate family, and then next thing you know, they're getting calls from friends, and because they were teachers, they're retired and regular, so
Right.
yeah.
Yeah.
But it could, and so homeschooling kind of turns into that. It becomes a community of homeschoolers. But if there's more of us homeschooling and we're all in the same community, we can spot each other and stuff like that. So there was another group that was one parent each took a day. And there was like 5 kids. They wouldn't go more than 5 kids.
Mm-hmm.
And each
Oh,
parent took a day. Most of the homeschooling was because there was a lot of digital with the older kids, to make sure the older kids are where they're supposed to be, doing what they're supposed to do, and make sure there's no nuttiness going on with the online teacher. And with the little ones, they needed a little bit more hands-on. So the little ones, they did a lot more hands-on, you know, and they
oh.
rotate. Okay. I guess I'm obviously pressing homeschooling a lot more than traditional schooling as an option. But um, okay. I don't know where everybody else is at, but in our school, the traditional schooling has also added digital learning, which come in hand, especially when there's a shortage of teachers. Digital learning, so they get their teachers do their assignment and stuff. Hold on a second.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. I get what you were saying. The teacher been doing assignment and everything in the school. Like, okay. But why is the case that now all these traditional school and home schools and stuff come in because they were a problem with racism and our parents or our children being having an issue with some of the teachers. So parents says that okay, I am a black mother, I am a black child. I don't need to send my child to the white man's school or to the white schools because the public schools the white schools. And I don't want my child to be in the midst of the white children. I want them to feel good around all my black people or only black children. So I will not send my child to school or I will do online school for my child so that my child will not going to be in the midst of white people and they can be okay because the white people started to teach our children something that they don't like. And the children started to complain to their parents that hey, mama, this is what was going on in school. They do this all the time. They have an issue with the teachers. So I think if the parents started that way, that was helping, then why don't we improve to find a solution for our children for that? Because I think we can find a solution for our children. Like find a solution like okay, either we be training them or either we give them the knowledge to benefit. Because when they go to the university, they know their rights and they know their left and everything. They can control themselves. Nobody is going to overcome them. The problem being in the like the junior high or the senior high. That was where the problem is. But in the university, they are grown up. They can talk to themselves. They can say, hey, I'm not going to do this because I am in the university. I'm not anymore a child or a kid that you can dictate for me. I can dictate for myself. I know what I want. So I think when I know black people, we can be one, but there's some places that or there's some environment that where the black people are, they can be grouped over there. They can be one over there to monitor their environment or to monitor their place that they are, to make sure their children be in the position of a right place, or they can build something for these children who are coming, because our children cannot be all the time in a traditional school or homeschooling like that. They can. A time is going to come, they're going to complain about it, because now we're giving our children technology early stages. Is helping them, but at the same time it's not helping them, because they've been over us. They're becoming over us, and they are not doing what we supposed or we want them to do.
All right. Okay. The thing is it's hard to choose one thing overall. And the one thing that we kind of would agree, it would take a lot of coming together to get it done, and we can't even come together on something like that. Um, so it's gonna be a lot of individual process. But um, let's take a little break for a moment. We're going take a little breather with this Vid Chronicle video. All right, let's cover our bases. All right, this channel may contain content not authorized for use by its owner. However, according to Section 107 of the Copyright Act of the United States, the fair use of copyrighted work for purposes such as criticism, comments, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, or research is not an infringement of copyright. All right, here we go.
Can you spare some change, man?
Yeah, don't get that man no money. You know, homeless people be buying it for drugs and beer.
Tracy, stop. You never know what he was going through when he.
Sorry. Sorry you didn't ask.
No, don't be sorry. Everybody has a story. I'm not judging you.
Kind woman. Nobody even stops to listen to me anymore.
It's the generation we live in. There's always one kind soul out of hundreds.
Okay, can you give him $1 so we can go?
Go then. I was having a conversation with this man. You being really rude.
I'm not leaving you with this bum. Hurry up so we can go.
I know I ran into a lot of people today, like this sitting on the street, but I never had someone who insults me in my face.
Especially when you choose to live on the street. Instead of being a man, you'd rather live on the street.
Tracy.
No. It's okay, man.
No, it's not okay. My roommate is out of order.
Trust me, it's okay. I've been sitting out here for too much trying to find a kind-hearted person to bless.
I'm not following. Did you used to be a preacher or something?
No, I've been through the struggle and I witnessed it. All my life I've been giving, it's been in my nature. I want to find someone so I can give them a blessing instead of helping each and every one that don't deserve it. You and your friend together today gave me a good example of that. You don't have to put up with anything like this because you need a roommate. Don't let her negativity disturb your energy. So today, I will give you the keys to your new house. You truly deserve it.
Girl, he is lying to you.
Only one condition. You leave the toxic energy behind you and start over.
You just gonna leave? Who gonna pay your half for the rent?
Don't cry. No need to cry. People with kind hearts deserve blessings every day. It may not come when you want it, but it's there when you need it.
Thank you.
Bless you.
Oh my God.
Stacy was blessed with a beautiful new home. Timothy went on to continue to bless good and genuine people. Tracy could not find another roommate because no one wanted to live with her. She lost her apartment and ended up exactly where Timothy was, on the streets. Things turned out okay, but could have gone backwards had Stacy got caught up in Tracy's shenanigans.
Girl, don't get that man no money. You know how many people be using it for beer or drugs?
Girl, it's just $2.
Exactly. How much the beer costs?
$2.
Exactly. Don't feed the man habits.
You really can't spare $2?
No, not today.
You sorry? Not sorry. You sorry.
The moral of the story is, what goes around comes around. Being good to someone make good things come back to you.
Never belittle someone because they're not in a good position at the time.
Have a heart even when there's nothing to look forward to.
Thank you guys so
Oh, oh, wow. This is right. And this is good. You know, we see what the lady did was wrong, because if you're working with your friend and somebody asks you for something, you are not going to do it. But don't let your friend down that, hey, don't do it. It doesn't matter what the person is going to use the money for. If he using it for drugs, he doesn't care. It doesn't matter. He need it. Just give him and then you do your part. Than rather to saying, oh, he's going to use it for beer. And so you see what she end up getting a nice place because of a good heart. And you that you think you are wise, you don't want to send something or you don't want to give something, you've been losing. And you're going to be on the street like the way they are. So you have to be a kind heart, you have to be a kind person, you have to be a good person. This is the video I watch, I love it.
Yeah, went through a similar situation, but you know that we assuming that we know why they need $2, or why they are begging for money. It could be that they in a situation that they need $2 for. They could have needed $2 in gas so they can get where they gotta go. Although nowadays we can't imagine $2 in gas. Uh, but it don't it's not good to assume what you think you might know what the person needed for. You could be right. It could be or not. But you either choose to give or not to give. If you give open heart, not no condition. Don't judge why you're gonna give it. If you're not gonna give, don't give.
Yeah,
But you
it
don't
doesn't
you don't
matter
you don't stop a person from giving. You know,
because you can give. So you want to stop the other person, don't give. No, it doesn't matter. I don't care about what the person is going to use the money for. That doesn't concern about me. What bothers me that he asks me and I give or I can give. That is the one bothers me. But what he's going to use the money for, that is not my case. I don't care about that.
yeah, there are good Samaritans out there that go and they go out there and they have what they are perceived as who to bless and how to bless them.
Yeah.
We've seen plenty of videos out there where the same called homeless person giving a blessing of some money, and they went and got some food for somebody, or they went gave it to somebody that needed help. Don't assume you know the person character because of the situation they in.
Hmm.
All
You're
right.
right.
Mm-hmm. Okay, here's another video. Let's see. Y'all ready?
Yeah.
Franklin left Olivia alone.
Thank you guys so much. We hope that you enjoyed this episode.
It's funny, but it's kind of really. Why will you neglect your child because of a man? Your child knocked the door. She said, Mom, I'm hungry. What will you do? You have to wake up and see your daughter first thing because she is your family. You get her. This man can leave you in the midst of, you see you having a problem with your daughter is dying, he carries back and left you. Because of what? He don't care about you and your daughter. He only cares about you. And that means he don't love your daughter. I'm not going to neglect my daughter or my family or because of a man. No. If you love me, you have to love me and love what I have. If you really care about me, you have to care about what I have. You can't care about me alone and leave one. Then you have to go. He's supposed to wake up and see her daughter. Let her daughter won't lose her life. That's what we are talking about. When you choosing a man, choose a man who is going to love your family. If he doesn't love your family, leave him. Let him go.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I'm sorry. Okay, that scenario is totally through my. You're gonna go get busy while you got a pot on the stove. No, no. I'm surprised whatever she was cooking on the stove didn't burn up and set the house on fire.
Right. That you people could have died in the room. Both of the house is going to burn. And everybody would die.
Yeah. And if you're dealing with a man that's so sex crazy, he can't wait for you to finish cooking and taking care of your child. You know, then you don't need that.
Only thing that he cares about you having sex with him. Everywhere that he met you, you don't want to have sex. Oh, bullshit. I'm not
Yeah.
going to accept that man in my house.
And don't think you're gonna change him. Well, when I marry him and when we have kids, no, 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 no. It's not gonna change selfish, and the kids can sense that. And
Even if even if you have kids with him, he's gonna do the same thing, and you're gonna neglect even the kids that you have with him, and you're not gonna concentrate on these children. I tell you.
yeah. Okay. Well. Okay. Let's see. Well, I had a lot more questions. I figured answers. Go over the ladies talking to chat, but it's getting later. I'm going to do this again because I didn't get a chance to, do all the pros and cons. Although I think I seem to be leaning towards homeschooling because I was seeing what was all involved in it. And, we pretty much kind of know the way traditional, right? But I wanted to get into the issues with the Common Core. The Common Core curriculum, I think the part of the problem is the Common Core, and it's just in the math alone is all kind of unnecessary steps, and the kids are so caught up in just the answer for the grade. They're not trying to understand why this answer is correct or anything. They just want the correct answers, and they too smart with them computers not to find a way to get the answers without looking it up. They don't want to read the information, and get it from the information to read. They want to skip all that. They just want the answers so they can get a good grade. So all the kids are chasing a grade, and they only chase the grade when it gets down to the final push. But anyway, I'm gonna come on about this discussion again on the pros and cons of the different uh, type of ways we can school our kids or educate our kids. So far, homeschooling looks good, but it's not feasible. It's not possible for everybody, because you got to be on hand or have somebody you trust to monitor the child with the digital learner, to teach the kids the curriculum, and then there's a variety of curriculums to decide what kind of curriculum and everything. So we're gonna end this for right now. Peace, power, and unity, and we'll do this again another time. Okay, so I will see you for the next ladies' night. All right. Yeah. All right, we're gonna leave out with some music.